Welcome back to the Wild Ones Pro Show. We come to you after a very exciting end of stage 12 at the Tour.
Yep, that's Jimmy and producer Emily, and we're back with cycling journalist Katie. Hello, Katie.
Hello.
And before we get into that, I just want to say a massive thank you to Garmin and Van Rysel for supporting the show. Now I will hand it over to Katie to spill the beans on everything that went down today.
Okay. So we had a big surprise early in the stage as the bunch split into two. We had a massive early split. All the GC favourites win the second group, and the front group included current King of the Mountains at that point, Lenny Martinez, a representative each from UAE and Visma, and Mathieu van der Poel again. With 60 kilometres to go, though, the pace picked up as the race entered the mountains. The breakaway had 2 minutes over the peloton, but their number halved under the tempo being set by Ineos Grenadiers. Then they entered the Col de Soulor, the Category 1 climb, so one of the biggest climbs we've had so far. Visma took over the pace setting at that point from EF and UAE, and the GC group began to slim down.
It was a very hot day today, so perhaps the heat was contributing to people dropping off quite a lot today.
Yeah, they were dropping like flies. So you had Lenny Martinez got dropped, Ben O'Connor. We saw loads of them struggling, and everything was just across the road after that point. The first casualty among the big GC favourites, though, was Remco Evenepoel. He slipped back with 54 kilometres still remaining on the stage. Ben Healy was another victim, sadly. His teammate was pouring water over him. He was trying to stay cool. He was putting in obviously a huge effort, but he just couldn't compete and eventually got dropped and would say goodbye to the yellow jersey. There were only a handful of riders left in the GC group, and even Visma was suffering. They were forced to ease off the pace to allow themselves to regroup after Matteo Jorgensen and Simon Yates got dropped. And the lone breakaway survivor by then was Bruno Armoraj of Decathlon. UAE were in control, though, as they headed onto the final climb, the HC category, Hautacam. Vingegaard ended up isolated, and Tadej Pogačar didn't waste any time. He launched an explosive attack after a lead out from his teammate Jonathan Narvaez and dropped everyone. Despite a heroic effort from the local rider Armoraj, who began the Hautacam with 1:45 over the GC group, that gap was smashed to pieces by Pogačar, and with 11 kilometres to go, it was bye-bye Bruno, sadly. Pogačar opened up a gap between himself and Vingegaard, and it began to steadily increase as they worked their way up the climb. It was 50 seconds, then it was 1 minute and 10, then it was 1:40. And in the end, Pogačar claimed the stage, his third stage of the Tour. He made history yet again as the first world champion to win a summit finish Tour stage since Bernardino.
And Vingegaard came over the line second, 2 minutes and 11 seconds behind. Obviously, we saw Pogačar have a crash yesterday. Looks like we didn't need to worry. He seemed on fantastic form. What do we know about his injuries?
He says he hit his hip and his shoulder. He was okay. He didn't break anything, just had some cuts and bruises, and obviously proved that he wasn't feeling any ill effects.
Well, I feel like if we did have the tiniest thread of hope that there may be a potential rival for Pogačar this Tour, it feels like that has been all but crushed now, and maybe it was only a matter of time. Katie, at the start of the day, you came in and sat down and said that you thought maybe the Tour would be over after this stage, and I think that you were potentially right. You also said, I wonder if Visma's tactics have come back to bite them. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, just they've been so busy trying to rile Pog, trying to get in under his skin, trying to force him to make these little micro attacks that we mentioned yesterday. And in doing so, they've obviously put in their own, huge amount of effort. They've worked really, really hard. They've taken the race on from the front. However, today, it proved to be their undoing, I think, because we saw that the domestiques weren't able to stay with Jonas. Jorgensen getting dropped is a huge blow for them. He was isolated, as we mentioned, by the time they got to that climb, and it was academic in the end. Pogačar versus Vingegaard is what it ultimately came down to. But Visma are going to be licking their wounds tonight.
It's a sad day for bike racing, but a wonderful one for Tadej Pogačar.
It isn't a sad day for bike racing. Jimmy, you like Pogačar. I know
I think he's amazing. I think he's absolutely brilliant, but it's going to make it less entertaining for the next 9 stages that we have to watch.
Fine.
I hope, I don't want it to be accidents. I don't want it to be crashes. I just hope at some point there is some competition brought back in, or we just have to do that really annoying thing where you just discount Pog, which is what he loves people to do, and we start focusing on the other battles that are going on.
Yeah, but I also don't think it's correct to discount Pog. I mean, I think we are all in the presence of greatness right now, and we all just have to bow down and just accept that, you know, this is his time. I know that you like him.
Yeah, he's class.
Exactly. So we can't discount him. We can't just rewrite history for the sake of trying to make a good discussion.
Spectators,
yeah,
not as the people doing the show, as spectators, we need to go, right, okay, so it'd be very easy to go, okay, tour's over, turn it off, don't need to watch it anymore.
Yeah, but there's always little stories and stuff going on. We've seen interesting stages and that kind of thing.
And that's what we can look for. But also, the thing that I find absolutely wild about Pog is if you did discount Pog, we would still be looking at greatness. Jonas Vingegaard is like unbelievable. Like he's so much stronger than everyone else. It's just because Pog is in like a different stratosphere right now. It's very easy to think that Jonas is just like everyone else. He absolutely isn't. He is obliterating everyone else. It's class.
I think we can just look forward to, like, if Pog builds up so much time over everyone, he might have a bit of a chill in week 3, and hopefully we'll get some breakaway antics and some other riders being able to stamp their mark on the race. If the GC is completely over, which, you know, if it follows this trajectory, it very much will be by the end of week 2. Week 3 could have some interesting stories, as we say, and, you know, people will be battling for the places in GC as well, so there'll be little infighting moments and things to look out for. But yeah, Pogačar's just insanely good.
Do you actually think that Pog won't go for every possible stage victory that he could absolutely possibly get in this tour?
I would say yes, because I know what he's like. We've seen him do it. He's a cannibal. He is, like, you know, but equally I do think it niggles him a little bit that people criticise him for exactly that. I think he doesn't like it when people say, oh, he wins too much, he's too dominant. So I do think that there's an argument, especially as he's going for the Vuelta a España a few weeks after the tour finishes. So to make his mark in history this year, he gets to win both Tour and Vuelta, and doing so over Vingegaard both times. So he might want to leave a little bit in the tank, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Good analysis.
You made the point earlier, Jimmy, that Katie mentioned he's made history yet again, world champion, summit finish, first since Bernardino. It just whenever he breaks this new ceiling of achievement, it's always being compared to what we have always thought of as some of the greatest cyclists of all time. He's so in that realm, isn't he?
Oh yeah, it's the names are always names that you know, and if you know them and they're 50 years ago, there's a reason you know them. He will be, he's going to be remembered forever, isn't he?
He is indeed. So, Katie, what does all of this mean for the Jersey standings?
Well, you won't be surprised to hear that Pogačar will retake yellow after today's stage with a whopping 3:31 gap over second place Jonas Vingegaard, which is, that is quite something ahead of, as you say, 9 more stages. Remco Evenepoel clung on to third in GC and held on to the white jersey, but he had a bad day. We mentioned that he dropped off. He had a resurgence where he rode back onto the group, but then he got dropped again. He was obviously really hot, very much suffering in the heat, pouring bottle after bottle over himself. He got very annoyed with a fan waving a flag in his face, which is fair enough, really.
Jimmy was also absolutely fuming. He hates the summits and seeing all the fans kind of crowding everywhere.
Sticking behind barriers, man. The thing that annoys me the most is that, a bike racer wants to take a particular line and they're not able to take the line that they want to take because there's idiots in the way.
It's part of the sport, though, isn't it?
Drives me nuts.
Yeah. The Red Bull leadership conundrum was also decided on the road today as Florian Lipowitz attacked, leaving Primož Roglic behind. That makes it sound really sort of bad, as if he just dropped Roglic, who came into the race as leader really for the team. But I think it wasn't really like that. I think there was a lot of times during the day when the two of them were riding together and you could see Lipowitz was looking over his shoulder and sort of checking, is Roglic still with me? Is he okay? Are we riding together? And I think at some point they've made the call in the team car, go for your own chances. Roglic is not at the same level that he wants to be. And Lipowitz is young, he's hungry, he is riding brilliantly well this year. and he absolutely proved his team's faith in him today. It also reignites the white jersey competition as he's moved to within around 50 seconds of Remco. So he's in 4th place now. And actually, from 3rd place, Remco, all the way through to 6th place, are all young rider jersey candidates. So that's really exciting in itself, I think, seeing, the likes of Onley, Vauquelin, Lipowitz all fighting it out for the podium.
It really has changed, isn't it, over the last kind of 5 years or so? Is that there's just so much young, high standard bike riders, because it wasn't even that long ago that you wouldn't be at the top end of the table unless you were mid-30s, early 30s really.
The increased professionalism of the sport coming in at such a young age. You've got like 17-year-olds weighing their food already, and having access to incredible equipment and nutrition and just everything about the sport is so much more professional. You don't have to earn your stripes by coming through a team anymore. If you've got the talent, you're being signed for crazy amounts of money when you're 18 years old. And yeah, it is changing. And I do think there's a big argument for lowering the age of the white jersey to under 23.
Agreed.
The green jersey competition stayed the same today, though. Mathieu van der Poel added 15 points to his total. And in the King of the Mountains jersey, we now have 2 leaders level on points. Lenny Martinez, who, as I mentioned, got dropped, but Pogačar, with that big haul of points on the final HC climb, moves level with Lenny Martinez, and Martinez will still wear the polka dots tomorrow, and we'll see how long he can hang on to them.
Well, we know Lenny's in polka dots. Another question will be, will Roglic keep his socks tomorrow? The socks have been a big talking point on social media today because they were ankle socks.
Yeah, he's gone old school. Gone old school. I'm all for it. I was literally saying to you a couple of weeks ago, I want to get some ankle socks. I don't like cycling tan lines. They're horrible.
No rules, as we always say. No rules.
It surely is a temperature thing, though. They're thinking it's marginally cooler.
Maybe.
And if it's shaved, it's not really any less aero, and it's a mountain stage. So
also means you probably don't have to go past the UCI sock police. Maybe it takes a step out of that.
Possibly
equation. Yeah. All trends come back around eventually, don't they?
You know what's going to happen though, don't you? We're going to find out that he's actually got invisible socks. Next, we have the long-awaited Garmin data for Jonas Abrahamsen's stage win effort yesterday. So he was using the Garmin Edge 840, and he did an average of 304 watts for 3 hours and 55 minutes that he was riding. Which I guess some people, if you just hear 304 watts, you might not think that's the most astronomical number in the world. And then you hear he did it for 4 hours. And then you go, well, that's absolutely bonkers. Also bearing in mind that the first half hour of that 4 hours was the neutralized start where he was averaging about 100 watts. So on the final climb, which I do not know how to pronounce, Côte de Pech David.
Pech David.
Pech David. Which is 800 meters long. It averages 11%. It took him 2 minutes and 27 seconds to get to the top of it with an average of 592 watts, which is hideous. On the final 12 to 15 kilometers of the race, so the whole final 12 to 15 kilometers of the race, he was averaging over 500 watts, which is bonkers. For those interested in calculating this kind of stuff, apparently his weight is about 78 kilos. Completely nailed his cadence, 91 average for the stage. Everyone knows 90 is where you want to be. And in the final 15 seconds of the sprint to win the stage, he averaged 1,135 watts. And if you think that's not a big deal, go and give it a go.
It was enough to win him the stage. Well, thank you very much for that, Jimmy. Okay, fluff up of the day. Firstly, we forgot to do one yesterday. It was just such a hectic end that just everything kind of went crazy. Also, in amongst that confusion, I made a huge error. I said that Pogačar was in the 5 kilometre safe zone. It was only 3 kilometres, and of course the relevance of that is that everyone waited for him, and that's why that happened, and obviously that was extremely kind of them. So sorry for the confusion there. That was silly of me.
They're probably regretting that today, aren't they?
Yeah, well, this is it. I have seen some talk online, some unpopular opinions of that they shouldn't have waited for him. Maybe that's a discussion for another day. Would it have made that much difference? I don't know. There was some backlash after the Pogačar crash.
Some people, they're just cuss heads, aren't they?
But yeah, so Uno X rider Tobias Johannesson, who was the rider who kind of came across Pog's line and resulted in a touch of wheels and Pog went down. He was getting death threats after the stage. We also saw Brian Coquard getting something similar, didn't we, after the Jasper Philipsen crash?
Yeah, we did. It's crazy. Come on, people, like, do better. There's no need for it. There's no place for it in the sport. So just, jog on.
He was getting so much hate that actually Tim Wellens posted a video on social showing TdF was fine and essentially exonerating Tobias, telling people to stop having a go at him.
Hey mate, all good, don't stress. I hope people don't give you shit. People stop giving him shit. It was all good, race incident, and we fight on.
But keep the line, eh?
Yeah, we also have another fluff up from yesterday. So we weren't the only ones that were confused at the latter end of the race. Allegedly, and I'm strictly saying allegedly because it might have just been an excuse, Mathieu van der Poel claims that he thought he was actually winning the stage. And that's why he was like boshing it off the front and then eventually saw them. There was, I don't know, his radio was knackered or something or other. And then he saw the lads in front of him, was like, ah.
Is it bad of me to say that I'm kind of glad that's a thing, maybe if things got lost in translation and that stopped him from winning? I don't think that was the worst thing in the world. He has a lot of
wins
and trophies and stuff already, and it was lovely to see Abrahamsen win. So maybe an unpopular opinion, but there we go. The Wild Ones Pro Show is supported by Garmin.
And we are in some really good company because Garmin also supports some of the very best riders in the Tour de France and the Tour de France fam.
Yeah, they work with teams like Vismalisa Bikes, Soudal Quickstep, SD Works Pro Time, FDJ Suez, and many more.
And because Garmin provides these teams with trainers, head units and wearables, they've got access to mountains of incredible data.
And they're going to share some of that data with us throughout the coming stages. So we'll get a really interesting insight into the physical demands of the most prestigious bike races in the world.
So please stay tuned for that. And once again, thanks to Garmin for supporting the show.
How would you like to win a Van Rysel RCR-F 105 Di2 worth £5,000?
I would love to. I've ridden that bike. It is proper good.
Well, sorry, Jimmy, you can't. But one of our UK listeners will, thanks to our sponsor, Van Rysel.
That's class. The RCR-F is literally a Tour de France race bike.
Yeah, the official bikes of Decathlon, AG2R, Le Mondial.
The 105 version has the same grade of carbon that the pros ride.
So to enter the draw to win this bike, click the link in our description. You must be a UK resident, age 18 or over, and T's and C's apply. One winner will be chosen by Van Rysel and contacted by them a week after the draw closes at midnight on August 4th. I sound like one of those radio adverts, don't I?
No, it wasn't fast enough. So good luck, and thanks to Van Rysel for supporting the Wild Ones Pro Show.
So in other news, they say lightning never strikes twice, but in the case of doomed team Cofidis, apparently it does. Because believe it or not, they have had more team bikes stolen. This time it was their women's team, and it happened at the Baloise Ladies Tour in Belgium, and apparently police are now investigating. I don't know the number, they just kind of said several. The details are a little bit muddy at this point, but what is going on over at Cofidis?
Cofidis, yeah, they've got some sort of curse hanging over them at the moment. I don't know what's happening. We also saw Brian Coquard again. Poor Brian, he's having a terrible tour. He was getting his fingers bandaged today. The crash, assuming he crashed, which he must have done, didn't take place on the broadcast, so we can't say what happened. But he looked like he was suffering a bit. He's not having a good tour, but yeah, I think they definitely get their doomed jersey back.
They do, I think, yes. So before we move on, we want to highlight a very sad piece of news that's come to light today. 19-year-old Italian rider Samuele Privatera has died after a crash on stage 1 of an under-23s race held in his home country. He rode for Jayco's development team, Hagen's Berman Jayco. General Manager Axel Merckx said he was and always will be the life and personality of the team. He said this team has always been a small family and moments like this are unimaginable. So an investigation has now launched into the circumstances surrounding the tragedy, and our thoughts go out to his friends and family.
Now we're going to hand back to Katie for a roundup of tomorrow's stage.
So stage 13 promises 10.9 kilometres of pain. That's what awaits the riders as they take on the second of 2 time trials, this time in the Pyrenees. It's much shorter than the first test against the clock, but it's almost all uphill, as the stage, which begins in Loudunvier, takes the riders directly up the Peyregoud climb, 8 kilometres in length at an average gradient of 7.9%. It's a completely different prospect to the last time trial, which is pretty much pan flat, and pure time trial specialists will struggle compared with the climbers and GC riders. Jonas Vingegaard struck a killer blow to Tadej Pogačar on an uphill time trial in 2023. Can he make inroads into the now very large lead of the Slovenian tomorrow on the mountain? Equipment choices could play a major role.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what everyone's using tomorrow. We've heard some speculation we might even see clip-on aero bars. So some will be on road bikes, some are going to be on TT bikes, some are going to be doing some interesting things, and I am very much looking forward to it.
And the sprinters are going to be crying.
Anyway, we will find out what happens tomorrow and we will tell you all about it. Same place, same-ish time, and we'll see you then. Thank you, goodbye.
Tatty ho, bye-bye.
Bye.
Tatty ho.